Welcome to Ecuador. I want to share with you guys some of the wonderful things that you can experience while visiting this wonderful country and some of the things that I had the chance of experiencing while here visiting for 10 days.
Starting off at the center of Quito is Independence Square, where not only can you find the original colonial-style buildings, but you could also find El Palacio de Corondolet, which is the house of the President of Ecuador.
As you guys can see, it's actually very peaceful. There's a lot of restaurants in my surrounding, and of course there's a lot of people here as well. So, have fun.
This beautiful area is filled with local vendors and musicians filling the streets with their art and music as you explore every alley and street that you stumble upon. Within a walking distance, you have these two jaw-dropping attractions, including La Basilica, which is this neo-Gothic church just a couple of blocks away from the President's house, which is a beauty of its own. But it also does offer some of the best sights of the area. However, to climb to the very top is definitely not for the faint of heart.
My legs aren't shaking, not at all.
That's good. Wait until you reach this glass bottom right here. Nice.
Never again. Never again.
And the second one is definitely for the more adventurous explorers. Right across from the church, you can spot La Virgen del Panecillo that oversees Independence Square. A simple 800-step climb to visit her should get your juices flowing.
Over 600 steps.
Oh yeah, 600.
And only 200 more steps to go. Once you make it to the top, you can oversee the city and even spot the Gothic church off in the distance. It took Inti and I about 30 minutes to climb to the very top and marvel at this gigantic statue.
Taking touristic photos like that.
That's good.
If climbing up all those steps doesn't have your heart racing, a 15-minute taxi ride to Volcano Park should do the trick. The entrance is entirely free and you can pick and choose from a wide selection of rides once you're there.
Every hour, they have one specific ride that's like discounted, and then they bring it down to like 10 cents. Because normally you're paying per individual ride between like $1.50 to like $3. So it's very interesting. Sammy and I made a deal that we wouldn't scream, so that was, yeah.
It's a great way to wrap up the afternoon and take in the scenery as you are face to face with one of Ecuador's active volcanoes, El Cotopaxi. Not only is it one of the most popular volcanoes in the country, but it is also one of 105 volcanoes that you can find in Ecuador.
The view is just miraculous.
Do you like the views?
It doesn't. It's a freaking volcano.
Because of the several active volcanoes within the area, this has supplied the country with several thermal pools scattered all along the country that are naturally heated and cooled by these temperamental giants.
So right now we're in actually a really small city called Papayacta, and this is where we're going to go and see like heated pools, which is actually heated by the magma at the very bottom of the land, of course, since we are really close to volcanoes. But the other really cool thing about it is that over here up in the mountains, this is how we're getting all the cold water. So you're gonna have two separate pools, some of them warm, some of them hot, so it really all depends.
As someone who had arrived to Ecuador with zero expectation, it took me by total surprise to learn that I didn't have to wait until Iceland to experience one of these majestic pools.
I have never had such a wonderful experience. I'm here surrounded by mountains all around me, and the water is just immaculate. I already stepped out, so I am as fresh as a goose, but let's go on to the next one. In 2008, Ecuador was actually the very first country to recognize that nature itself deserves the same amount of rights as you and I do. And for that very reason, you could actually see a lot of nature completely untouched, and I am entirely for that. Not to mention, off in the distance, right over there, is actually a volcano called Tungurahua. So it has actually exploded in the past. Clouds are literally breaking in half as they go past it.
To help keep an eye on this volcano, the Ecuadorians have built this treehouse in the city of Baños to help monitor its activity. La Casa del Árbol, as it's better known to the locals, has doubled into a touristic attraction where you can swing off the side of the mountain and enjoy the scenery. Little did I know that this swing was only a warm-up for what was later to come. No joke, I literally had to take 2 shots of vodka to muster up the courage to get on this one.
We recently just had a delicious meal, and for that reason, I actually feel ready to take on the world. Not really. I'm ready for like my siesta, but you know, it's not always you get to see this kind of stuff, so definitely looking forward to it. Oh. That's quite interesting.
¿Dónde nos visitas?
En la Florida.
Ah, ¿sí eres gringo?
Sí, claro.
Disculparás.
No, está bien.
Es que uno acostumbrado que los gringos son sucos, grandotes, ojos verdes.
No, lo opuesto. ¿Y esto qué es?
Esto es canelazo.
Canelazo.
Es una bebida típica tradicional de aquí de Ecuador.
¿Sí?
Esto se hace en fiestas aquí en la montaña para el frío, ¿sí? Es una bebida muy deliciosa,
Sí.
a base de especias.
Sí.
Hay una frase que dice, ecuatoriano que se respeta, se vacila un canelazo.
Sí.
¿Ya entiendes? Prueba, despacio porque está un poquito caliente.
Sí.
Sí, prueba, es muy bueno.
Wow.
Esto es Viagra de caña.
Sí.
With just 48 hours in Baños, we had to make the absolute most of it. So we went to explore El Pailón del Diablo to see the most breathtaking waterfall that Ecuador has to offer. Absolutely stunning. Oh yeah, and I managed to find myself on this questionable metal frame holding me above a valley. And of course, no trip is ever complete without eating some of the local food.
It tastes immaculate. It is good. I have never had an avocado in my soup, but I'm enjoying it. It's a great addition.
We spent our last day exploring around the city and even trying to hunt down one of the local traditional plates of Ecuador, cuy.
I'm actually trying to go all across the city because here in Ecuador they have this one delicacy that you guys might be familiar with, guinea pigs. So here in the city they actually call them cuy, and cuy is a delicacy here within Ecuador. It is something that they have been doing for many, many years. It's an ancestral thing that they've been already doing. And so with that being said, I'm actually running a little bit low on time, so I'm gonna be running like a maniac trying to find them.
After running around for a solid hour looking for cuy, we gave up. We had no luck finding it in the city. But my brother-in-law refused to let me leave this country without seeing cuy. And apparently the way it's prepared. This lovely lady actually let me go inside of her kitchen and film how this delicacy is prepared, so go support her business and try some cuy while you're there.
Cuy aquí en Ecuador es un plato típico que la gente mucho aprecia por su sabor, su confitura que es crocante. Visítenos, este es Ecuador, Selva Alegre, no se olvide, el barrio La Hueca 2.
I personally couldn't bring myself to try it, but, you know, each is their own.
So because of the fact that Ecuador is the only country that actually has latitude 0, it actually derived its name from being on the equator, hence why we got the name Ecuador. You guys can see right back here, that is latitude 0.
La Mitad del Mundo, arguably Ecuador's most popular tourist attraction, where I had a very important mission to take care of. Balancing an egg on a nail. The streets are filled with live performances with dancers in their traditional outfits and crowds crunching in to get a glimpse. I had the chance to climb up to the top of the statue that was jam-packed, and I got to admire some beautiful pieces of art they had throughout the area. You can find photos of my adventures in Ecuador on Instagram where we can connect. My trip to Ecuador was amazing and I highly recommend you visiting.